Have you ever had that feeling you look back at a chunk of your life and it just feels like a black hole, a stretch of lost time that you just can't stop blaming yourself for? It is such a heavy, heavy weight to carry, especially when depression is the one that stole that time. So today, we're going to talk about it. We're going to explore how you can start to reclaim those years. And it all starts with something that's really hard, but so important: forgiving yourself.
I lost 10 years of my life to depression, and I don't know how to forgive myself for it. Man, if that quote hits home for you, I just want you to know you are so far from being alone. That feeling, that ache of looking back at lost months or even years, and then pointing the finger right back at yourself, it's an incredibly painful and honestly an incredibly common part of this whole struggle.
Okay, so we're going to get into what I think is maybe depression's cruelest trick, and it's all about that self-blame. But here's the thing. What if that feeling of guilt, that feeling that it's all your fault, what if that isn't actually you? What if it's just another symptom? Let's dig into that, because it's a real game changer.
You see this all the time, this massive disconnect between how it feels and what it really is. On the inside, it can feel like you failed, right? Like it's a moral problem or you just don't have enough willpower. But the reality? The illness itself, well, it's a hijacker. It literally hijacks your energy so you feel completely drained. It hijacks your motivation, so even simple things feel impossible. And it hijacks your perception, changing the way you see the world and yourself.
And that's really the core of it all, isn't it? We have to separate the person from the illness. Depression isn't some kind of character flaw. It's not a choice you're making. It is an illness that gets its hooks into everything: your energy, your motivation, your sense of time, even who you feel you are. It can make just getting out of bed feel like climbing a mountain.
All right, so once we start to really get that, once we see it as an illness, we can start to change the whole story we tell ourselves. This is where we pivot. We're going to move away from this idea of wasted time and look at it through a brand new, and honestly, a much kinder lens.
So, this is the question, right? If you weren't wasting time, then what exactly were you doing? I mean, if we really accept that you were dealing with a serious illness, then that story about doing nothing it doesn't hold up anymore. So let's ask it again. What were you actually doing during all that time?
You were surviving. Period. It's that simple, but it's also that incredibly profound. You were fighting your way through a storm inside your own mind, a storm that makes just getting through the day feel impossible. Think about that. Every single day you made it through wasn't a day you failed, it was a day you survived. You were fighting an illness that was actively trying to pull you under.
And if you need proof of just how resilient you are, look no further. Seriously, the proof is right here, right now. First off, you're here. You made it. Second, you're thinking about the past. You're reflecting on it. And third, you want to move forward. That desire to heal, that hope for something better, that's not just a small thing. That is the victory. It's all the evidence you need of the incredible strength it took to get here. Okay, so we've got this new perspective. We're looking at this as survival, not failure. So how do we actually do it? How do we forgive ourselves? Let's talk about the path forward. And the key here is that it's all about compassion, not criticism.
First things first, we need to be really clear about what forgiveness is not. This isn't about pretending those years didn't hurt. It's not about saying, oh, I have no regrets. Of course you might have regrets. It doesn't mean you just sweep all that pain about missed opportunities under the rug. All of those feelings are totally valid. Self-forgiveness is something different.
So what is it then? Well, self-forgiveness is really about recognizing something crucial. It's about looking back at the version of you who was suffering, who was right in the middle of that storm, and just acknowledging that they did the absolute best they could. You know, they were working with the tools they had at that moment, which was probably very little energy, a brain that wasn't cooperating, and a whole lot of pain. That person was just trying to stay afloat.
So here's a little framework for you. Think of it as 3 key steps, or maybe 3 mindset shifts. Step 1, recognize the truth. Say it out loud if you have to. I was suffering from an illness, not I was failing. Step 2, acknowledge the effort. You have to give yourself credit for doing the best you could back then. And finally, step 3, celebrate your resilience. I mean, the proof is right in front of you. You are here. You made it. That's huge.
So I'm going to leave you with one final question to really chew on. What if you could completely reframe that whole period of your life? What if those years weren't lost? What if they weren't a void? What if, instead, they are the ultimate proof of what you can survive? A testament not to what you lost, but to the incredible strength you had all along.